What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Aaron for the donation to the channel via the PayPal. Much respect to him for showing love once again to Too Raw for TV. All right, so this is a requested video. Someone wanted me to do a comparison between Dwyane Wade and John Havlicek. Now, of course, Dwyane Wade played the majority of his career at the Miami Heat. He also spent time, I believe, with the Cleveland Cavaliers and I believe the Chicago Bulls. And I believe those are the three teams that he played with. John Havlicek spent his entire NBA career with the Boston Celtics. Of course, back then there was no free agency, and teams had more control over players. Now, Dwyane Wade played, I believe, 16 seasons from 2003 to 2019. And John Havlicek played 16 seasons from 1962 to 1978. Dwyane Wade's overall record as an NBA player was 611 and 443 for a 58% career winning percentage. John Havlicek's overall record was 824 and 446 for a 64.9%, basically a 65% win percentage. Now, you may be asking yourself, if they both played 16 years, why does John Havlicek have more games on his belt? That's because John Havlicek was a relative Iron Man. All right. Wade had to deal with, suffered more injuries. But you could also argue that even though Wade did have a lot of help at times in his career, John Havlicek played on some stacked teams, especially in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that could be an argument in the win percentage thing. They both reached the playoffs 13 times in their 16-year careers. As far as the overall playoff records, Wade had a 105 and 72 playoff margin, 105 wins, 72 losses for a 59.3% win percentage. Havlicek, 108 and 64 for a 62.8% win percentage. Wade won 3 championships, one in 2006 when he was the man. You could argue he almost single-handedly brought the Heat back from the brink of no return. They were a quarter away from going down 0-3, which we all know is pretty much the death knell for a team in the playoffs. He also won 2 other championships with the Miami Heat in 2012 and 2013. Havlicek won 8 championships in his career in 63, 64, and 65, 66, and then again in 68 and 69, and then he won championships number 7 and 8 in 1974 and 1976. So, you know, there's that. Both are Finals MVP one time in their career. Wade in 2006, Havlicek in 1974, though it is likely that had that award been around before 1969, Havlicek would have won Finals MVP at least, I think, 2 other times in his career. Wade was All-NBA First Team twice. Havlicek All-NBA First Team 4 times. Wade All-NBA Second Team 3 times. Havlicek All-NBA Second Team 7 times. Wade All-NBA Third Team 3 times. Havlicek All-NBA Third Team 0 times. But to be fair, the All-NBA Third Team did not come into existence until about, I think, 1989. Wade was Player of the Month 5 times, Havlicek 0, but then again, that didn't exist then. Player of the Week, Wade was Player of the Week 11 times, Havlicek 0 times, but that award didn't exist at that time. All NBA defensive teams, Wade 0, Havlicek was on 5, 1972, 73, 74, 75, and 76, and make no mistake about it, had that award existed before 1969, Havlicek would have been on more of those teams. All NBA defensive second, Wade 3 times, Havlicek 3 times. All rookie first team, Wade and Havlicek both were on the all defensive teams. Both were All-Stars 13 times. All-Star MVPs, Wade once, Havlicek none. Rookie game participant, Havlicek 2 times. There was no such thing when Havlicek was playing. Skills champion, there was no such thing when Havlicek played. Wade twice. Magic Johnson Award, Wade 1 time. No such award when Havlicek played. Community Assist Award, Wade 1 time. I'm starting to think they added this stuff on just to make Wade look better, but no such thing when when Havlicek was playing. You can make the argument that as far as their careers are concerned, Wade may have peaked higher as a player, but after maybe 2014, Wade really fell off a cliff. And toward the end of his career, he was a shell of himself. Whereas Havlicek may not have had quite as high a peak, although he was still pretty high, damn near high. He was more consistent. And in an era where medicine was inferior, nutrition was inferior, extras were inferior, you know what I mean by that, right? Travel was more excruciating. Just the strain of being a basketball player was more excruciating. Havlicek was able to be more productive, more effective, and more consistent and more available than Dwyane Wade. Wade had a higher career scoring average in his peak. He averaged 30 points per game one year. I believe he won a scoring title, if I'm not mistaken. Havlicek never won a scoring title and never averaged 30 points a game. I think the closest he came was, 1969, 1970 it was, or 77. I think it was 69, 70. I think that year he averaged like 28.9 or something. But like I said, Wade fell off a cliff. As far as rebounds are concerned, Havlicek was the better rebounder. When it comes to assists, they're about even, I would say. But the advantage that Havlicek had, Wade had, Wade came into the league as a starter. Havlicek came into the NBA as a bench player for several years before he became a starter. So those kind of actually hurt Havlicek's numbers. As great as Havlicek's numbers are, they hurt his career averages. And PER rating, Wade has an advantage in that. But let's look at something here. Let's go to Dwyane. Let's go to Wade. Wade, of course, is a top 75 player. Number 3 retired by the Miami Heat. Scored 23,165 points for 22 points per game average. Averaged 4.7 rebounds, 5.4 assists. And won Olympic gold in Beijing, but only the bronze in Athens and the bronze in the World Cup in Japan. So some disappointing performances as an international basketball player, at least from a success standpoint. Let's look at Wade's peak, right? I mean, we can argue about what his peak was. Now, Wade was more efficient, far more efficient. 48% for his career. I think Havlicek was around 43.9%. So Wade was a far better shooter Havlicek had to develop those skills. He was not a shooter or necessarily even a scorer when he first came to the NBA. So I'm just looking at, let's go 2004 to 2014 for Wade. Let's just go there. Over that 10-year period, Wade averaged 25.1 points, 5.1 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 1.8 steals, one block. Arguably, Wade is a top one or two. He's either greatest or top two with Jordan, shot blocking guard of all time. 49% shooting from the floor in that time period, but only a 29% three-point shooter. Got to the line 8.6 times during this prime period, and shot about 77% from the line. So, and like I said, Wade was a good defensive player at times. I mean, I would say good or average, but not locked down, not great. Okay, in the playoffs, 22.3 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 1.5 steals, one block, 47% shooting from the floor, 34% from downtown, and 78% from the line. Let's once again give him this 10-year period. 23.4 points, 5.4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.7 steals, 1.1 block, 48% shooting overall, 32% from downtown. Got to the line 7.4 times and shot 78% from the line. So those are pretty damn good numbers. Let's go to John Havlicek. All right, let's look at John Havlicek's. First, let's go to John Havlicek's accolades that I didn't mention. I think I got most of his accolades in, but of course, he was on the 50th and 75th anniversary teams, number 17 retired by the Boston Celtics. 26,395 points, all-time leading scorer for the Celtics. 20.8 points per game scoring average. 6.3 rebounds, 4.8 assists. So like I said, the assists were pretty even. Havlicek, a better rebounder. Havlicek's PR rating of 17.5 is a little bit deceptive because the first part of his career came off the bench. Show you what I'm talking about. Let's go to advanced metrics. So 67 to maybe 75. His PR rating was 18.6. So a little bit higher. I think his inefficiency hurt him a little bit with PR rating. So it was about 19 or so. Let's say his best years were 1965 to let's say 1974. Even though he was good after that. During that time period, 23.3 points, 7.2 rebounds, 5.7 assists. The 1.3 steals is a little bit inaccurate because he didn't measure in most of the 60s and early 70s. 44% shooting from the floor, 82% from the foul line. You could argue Havlicek had more talent around his team. Look, I think it's pretty damn close between these two. But when you look at the defensive side of the ball, the fact he was able to keep his career more productive over his entire career for the most part. Matter of fact, Havlicek said if he knew that Larry Bird was going to be the player that he was, or that he ultimately would become, he said he would have never retired. He would have played a couple of more years to play with Larry Bird and win another championship. I give the edge to Havlicek. I give the edge to Havlicek overall. I know Wade was more dynamic, more athletic. I get all that. Um, but I just think Havlicek is the more accomplished player. You know, depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at 1-on-1 and all that, yeah, I get it, Wade. But don't forget though, Havlicek was a guy that was, what I'm saying, leading the NBA in minutes played. Had 2 years in a row he averaged 45 minutes a game. So he got another war down. These guys, and it was also a fast-paced league then. So it wasn't an excuse for these guys to play fewer minutes back then just because the league was a fast pace. So it's that. I give the edge to Havlicek by a little bit. I would say it's marginal, but I give the edge to Havlicek. That's just my opinion, at least. Tell me what you guys think.